Blog Talk Radio.
It's Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Once again, it's time for the most intriguing talk radio on the internet today. This is Sasquatch Radio. Breaking news and information from around the world. Interviews with men and women investigating the mystery. The latest high-tech equipment. Cutting-edge research techniques. And amazing discoveries. Real-life people sharing real-life encounters. The director and founder of Sasquatch, Washington, Virginia. Here is your host, Billy Willard. Something is out there in the dark, watching, waiting. It's time to unleash the beast. This is Sasquatch Radio.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today's Monday, November 9th, 2009. We've got a wonderful guest in store for you tonight. But before I bring the guest on the air, I'd like to say hello to my wonderful co-host, Mr. Mike Killen. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Hey, Billy, I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Great to have you on again.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And, yeah, we do have a great guest tonight. You know, we'll kind of get into this. Now, this is Y'all take it easy on Don now. Don has made it aware to me that this is the first time he's ever done a Bigfoot radio show interview. So he doesn't want to come out of come out of Missouri and come and whoop somebody. So y'all better be nice to Don. How you doing tonight, Don?
I'm doing great tonight, Billy. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, it's not a problem. I've actually always wanted to get you on the show. Me and you haven't ever talked before, even though we're both in the AIBR. So I've always wanted to get you on. My goal is to get everybody in there on at one time or another. So it's a great pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, I don't know if you remember that, but the first time we ever interchanged information the forums.
Right, exactly.
Or the moderator on Josh's forums.
Exactly. Now, you are still in the Show Me state, right?
I am. I'm in Rockville, Missouri.
Okay. And I'm assuming you still have the same, because I know for a long time I think you've had the same career for quite a few years, I believe.
I've been a paramedic forever, yeah. Yep,
long time. Well, that's commendable in itself, because you guys really go out of your way to help people, and that is great. It really is. So we appreciate your service. Basically, what we'll do is we'll get into the flux of the show here. A lot of people, this is where they meet some of the researchers and things for the first time. So we kind of like you to, just kind of give a little bit of an introduction about yourself, what you do, and most importantly, what a lot of people like to hear is what made you get in this crazy mystery.
Okay. Well, as I just mentioned, I'm a paramedic. I've been a paramedic since 1983. I'm married, been married very happily for 7 years now. Mm-hmm. It's really kind of hard to explain, but I saw the documentary Mysterious Monsters back in the 70s when I was, 13, 14 years old. And the whole concept of these animals being out there just captivated me, and the fact that it was going on in Missouri at the time, that made it hit kind of close to home.
Right.
And I've been hooked on it ever since.
Right. Now, do you get out quite a bit up there in Missouri?
I do. Mostly what I'm doing right now is I do sightings reports and I'm doing a little bit of field research with a witness that may or may not have some activity going on. It's Bigfoot related. I don't get out as much as I would like, but I get out when I can.
Yeah, I think we all would like to get out more. If we were all independently wealthy, then we could make it a full-time career. I'm sure a lot of us would probably enjoy doing that. It's nice being out in the wilderness, just walking around in the woods, and
absolutely,
it's just so peaceful. It really is. Now, has there been a lot of sightings in Missouri? If you were to look at it from the standpoint of, of course, we know the Pacific Northwest is just overrun with sightings and stuff.
Well,
but
I wouldn't say there are a lot of sightings in Missouri, but the southern tier of the state, where the Mark Twain National Forest extends down into Arkansas, there is quite a bit of activity down there. We get a lot of different reports.
Okay.
We actually get some reports in this area that crypto reports that aren't Bigfoot even, and it makes it interesting to have it cryptozoology as a hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what other kind of creatures get reported down there?
Well, recently, and for several years now, in Arkansas and Oklahoma, not so much in Missouri, there have been reports of people seeing hyenas in the wild. And there are archival history from the early explorations of the North American continent where they were seeing hyenas. They reported hyenas.
Right.
And I don't know if they're actually still down there, but we're getting a lot of reports that they are.
Right. And obviously hyenas are not supposed to be in that area, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's kind of scary if you think about how big and ferocious a hyena is. It's kind of a scary concept.
Right.
Running right with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, looks like we've already got a caller. My goodness, they're ready to ask you some questions, Don.
Great.
Let me see who this is. I'm not exactly sure. Caller from the 419 area code. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's me, Billy. I just called in to listen to the show tonight.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain too much. If I do, nobody listens anyway.
Join the club, buddy. All right, I'll mute you back out so you can listen to the show. Thanks for calling.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, he's just calling in to listen. So sometimes, Don, we have trouble. People can't log into the show. Obviously, if you don't have high-speed internet, they can't even hear it at all. But a lot of people just call in and listen to it live. Now, how long have you been doing this now?
Actively, a little over 10 years now.
Okay.
I'm finally at a point in my life where I haven't enough time to actually devote some time to this.
Okay. All right. Mike, I see that, by the way, I'll introduce you to Mike Killen. He's my co-host from up in New York. Mike, say hello to Don.
Hey, Don, how are you? Welcome to the show. I've just been kind of...
Mike, nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here, likewise. I've just been kind of sitting here quiet on the side listening. I see we already have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yep, so go ahead and read them off the questions.
You want to go right ahead? Okay.
Yep.
We have one from Hucklebuck who asks, how close is the guest to Fort Lost in the Woods? And he says that's Fort, where is it? Just
Fort Leonard Wood?
Yes, that's it.
I'm right at about 100 miles northwest of there.
Okay, about 100 miles.
Fort Leonard Wood. Yeah, just about 100 miles.
Okay. All right.
And that's an area that gets a lot of activity.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why he's asking how close are you to there. I guess he's figuring that that's an area that is known to be active.
Yeah, I'm roughly right between Kansas City and Joplin on the west side of the state.
Okay. All right there, Hucklebuck. So he's about 100 miles from there. And we got another question from Bill Green, and he wants to know any recent sightings or footprints in Missouri forests.
I haven't had any personal reports lately. I've got an area of activity that's not too far from me, but it's something that I haven't been able to really get into yet. The people are very skittish about letting anybody investigate on their land. But yeah, there have been some tracks found over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the big issues. Yeah.
It is, and they're very touchy about letting strangers onto their property. They really don't even want us to know that they've got anything going on there out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just afraid of they don't want the attention, because once they get the attention, they know the ridicule comes with it.
Sure.
And that's probably steers a lot of people away
You know,
from even making a report.
That's what we all have to, that's one of the things we all have to deal with is coworkers and friends and even family members that don't understand and don't even want to try to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do your coworkers or anybody ever make fun of you? I mean, do they know what you do, or?
Yeah, some of them. Well, everybody knows about it. I'm pretty open about it, and you know, I don't get it teased as much as I used to because I've educated a few people.
Yep.
To where they at least can entertain the possibility that I might know what I'm talking about.
That's a good way of putting it.
Well, you know, there's enough evidence. It's crazy to me. There's enough evidence out there, circumstantial evidence at that we could convict one of these things in the court of law, but we can't prove they exist.
You're exactly right. That is a very good point. That's exactly
For some people's satisfaction, we probably won't ever. It's, you know, a photograph's not going to do it.
Yep. Yeah, we've learned that. A video's not going to do it. A pretty good one at that.
Video's not going to do it. We're still talking about the same video 40 years later.
That's right.
And we haven't solved anything yet.
That's right. Mikey's got another question, I think.
Where did it go? Yes, there was another question. All right, here it is. Okay. Yeah, Kingdom Keys. He says, are there wild hogs in your area or in southern Missouri? Many believe Bigfoot feeds on them.
Yes, there are, and it's getting to be a growing problem in our region, especially for the destruction they're doing to the farmland. The wild hog issue has gotten to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so you got an overabundance, too many?
Yeah, quite a few too many. And,
yeah.
You know, they're big and they're aggressive. Yeah, and they're doing a lot of damage.
Wild hogs, wild boars, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, that's no joke. You know, some people think that oh, you know, it's just a pig running around, but you know, say that when you see a 300-pounder or so charging at you out of the brush, because I've heard some stories about those things. They'll get after you.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I grew up on a hog farm. I can only imagine what a wild one would be like.
Oh, yeah. Find your nearest tree and climb.
There you go.
All right, I'll let you ask that one more question there, Mikey, and then I'll get this caller that's holding.
Okay. All right, we'll do the one question from Good Going. She just typed in there. She says, has Don ever been on an emergency call with injuries or harm from an unknown creature?
No, I haven't. No, not an unknown. Been on a lot of calls where people don't want to tell me what really happened, but no unknowns.
But I bet you're waiting for the day that happens.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'll take that call.
Carl versus Bigfoot. I'll be all over that one.
I'm sure you would. All right, let me get this caller here that's been holding on very patiently. Caller from the area code 404. You're on the air.
Hey, Billy, I'm just holding and listening. I couldn't get through on the internet.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll put you
that.
right back on. That's quite all right. Not a problem. Thanks for tuning in. All right. And all right, did you have any other questions before I get on with this, Mike?
I did not see another question. Let me just scroll back and double check. I did not see another one after Good Going. Nothing that's all in caps, but sometimes they'll sneak one in small letters, but I don't see one.
Okay. All right. I typically have a list of questions that are, I don't know, there seems to be a lot of things that people want to know about Don, so I'm just going to go down the list and just start asking you these. I mean, there's no, right or wrong answers or anything like that. Most of this is just based, as we all know, everything is circumstantial. And so a lot of it's just based on our opinions. But one of the questions here, have you ever personally had a sighting or encounter that you'd like to share?
No, I haven't, and really that is my personal end goal. I've pretty much given up on the idea of proving that they exist to anybody else. I just want the opportunity to see one myself. Yep.
Okay. That's good enough. Now, what do you think it's going to take? You know, we talked about this. You kind of touched on this briefly about the film and everything. But what do you think it's going to take to bring proof of the existence of this mystery?
Well, honestly, for science to accept it, I don't think a video is going to do it, because someone somewhere is always going to claim that it was faked.
Yep.
And they'll always be able to find somebody that can swear up and down that they know how it was faked.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's really going to take a body.
Yep.
Or at least a significant portion of that body. And I would really hope that would be the way it would happen if someone would find carcass. I don't want people out there trying to shoot these things.
Yeah.
I think based on some of the information we've gotten about them, especially in the last couple of years, that I myself, I wouldn't shoot one unless I just didn't have any other choice.
Right, right. Yeah, I think the thing is probably the most scariest about that is, you know, you get a bunch of people out in the woods with high-powered rifles, and, I mean, let's face it, we have a lot of idiot people in the world. I mean, let's face it.
Sure.
You know yourself that some idiot is going to go out in an ape suit, running around, you know, whether he wants to run out in front of a car or whatever. Someone's going to end up getting hurt.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, and that's what people should think about. You know, the people that want to go out and gun one of these things down. You know, what if that's somebody in a suit? Now, granted, I'm sure that if we get a close enough look, we're going to be able to tell, because the suit's going to be baggy. It'll probably be pretty obvious. But yeah, JC, I didn't call you an idiot. JC thinks I called him an idiot. I think JC had either a question or a comment, didn't he, Mike, for Don?
Gee, yeah, not really a question. Well, he poses a question, but we all know. That's not a real question. JC just likes to get that out over the air. But I'll read it. We'll feed his ego a little bit. JC says, does the guest know I am the greatest Bigfoot hunter in the world?
I guess I do now.
That's probably the answer he wanted, Don.
I guess I do now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
JC seems to need his ego stroked at least once every show at least. Yeah.
Pretty predominant in this field.
Yeah, that's right.
It really is.
Oh goodness. Whoops, we got another caller here. Let me grab this one. Caller from the 201 area code. You're on the air. 201 area code. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
We hear you.
Hi. I just had a question with all the videos that have been out there. Why is there any not conclusive evidence with the videos that are out there already? What's going on with that?
What do you think about that, Don?
Well, the big issue with that is it doesn't matter how good the video is or isn't. Someone's always going to claim it was photoshopped or staged or faked or something. It's almost impossible to be conclusive with a piece of video. I mean, we're still talking about the Patterson film 40 years later.
Right. Yeah, and you're right, Don. I mean, we have to face it, especially today. We have people who are good at Photoshop, people who can manipulate video. You know, look at some of the things that Hollywood does today. Probably would be fairly easy to fake a video and maybe get away with it for quite some time. So that's probably why the videos just don't quite make it.
A single piece of video is not going to stand up to scrutiny to the point of proving anything. Right,
exactly. Yeah, I agree. And the caller hung up, so he must answer his question. Let's see here.
Appreciate him calling.
Yep, me too. Let's see. was there any other questions there, Mike? I kind of got blocked here by a little private message that came in.
Let me just scroll back a little bit. I did not see any, but let me just make sure. Maybe JC put another comment for himself. You never know. Let's see. JC, pace yourself. Pace yourself there. Don't be in too much of a rush. No, I don't see any other questions.
Okay.
Well, actually, okay. I see a question. I assume it's a question. It's in caps. French Toast in the chat says, "Is the Patterson film real?" I guess he's asking opinions.
As far as I'm concerned, it is. Yes.
Yep. I would have to agree. I would have to agree with that too, Don.
It's been almost impossible for them to fake that to that degree of complexity in 1967.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And and what a lot of people don't realize too is, if Roger Patterson was able to pull that off and still have it be undiscovered after all these years, like such a great hoax, then why was he practically broke, at the time? And I mean, if he's that good, why wouldn't he have been in the movie biz? Plus, if he pulled it off once and it worked, and if he was down on his luck and looking to make some quick money, why wouldn't he have pulled 2 or 3 hoaxes, and filmed them and sold the films and made more money? You know what I mean? Why did he only do it once? So.
Yeah, it's a good point too. Could have very well done that.
Yeah, if he was that good at the hoax, he could have done 2 or 3 of them, right? And sold film rights and made a lot more money. If that's truly what people believe, he did it as a hoax to try to make money.
Right.
Didn't work out so well, did it?
Yep. Looks like Bill Green's got a question, but I think this one's aimed to me. He says, "Hey, Billy, were you interviewed by any newspapers lately? Or are you investigating any sightings, footprints?" That's my question. Yes, I was interviewed by a paper again, Bill. Not that I enjoy it, because it's actually a lot of times this media attention kind of turns me off. I don't like the direction it goes in a lot of times, but I am being interviewed by, I'm trying to think of the name of bear with me just a second, I'm looking it up. It's here in Virginia. Where'd it go? Here it is. Was interviewed by it's called the Declaration newspaper, which is down in southwestern Virginia. Was interviewed today. They're going to continue to interview me by way of email and maybe a few phone calls, but it's kind of weird, because all we did was we went on a West Virginia expedition, and the Public Broadcasting Service in West Virginia picked it up and sent a camera crew out, and I mean, we literally didn't find anything. But I guess because it was Halloween, so to speak, around the time of Halloween, they got interested, and I don't know why the Associated Press picked up on it. I've had a bunch of people say, well, somebody must have contacted the media and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I didn't contact anybody. For whatever reason, the Associated Press picked it up, and once they pick it up, as everybody knows, it goes like wildfire.
Oh, sure.
So.
Sorry about that. Hang up and loud.
That's quite all right. It happens. Mine will do that probably next.
I can't see the score of the game.
All right, so hopefully that answered Bill's questions. I am not investigating any sightings currently, no footprints or anything like that. Been going by the research properties, checking the trail cameras, but haven't found anything substantial other than the typical deer photos and stuff. So that's about it. Mike, is there more questions?
Yep, Oregon Sasquatch and Kite Squatch, Alan, both of those guys have basically asked if you've been approached by the History Channel.
No, I have not. All
right, and then Spin Dave's got a question, I'm assuming for our guest. It says, do you have any Dogman, Bigfoot-like sightings in your state?
Yeah, there have been a couple of reports in the southwest corner of Missouri where they described it as having wolf or dog-like features. but still being bipedal.
Right. So
I've never personally investigated one of those, but I have read a couple.
Right, where the people describe having the long snout, dog-like, wolf-like.
Sure.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those too. I think this is the caller calling back that asked a question a while ago. Caller from 404, you're on the air.
Hey, Billy, it's Midnight Walker. I've got a quick question, and I saw the blurb about you being in the news, but if everybody thinks that, even if you get a shot of a Squatch, either on thermal or on camera, and it's going to be refuted, why do you do it? Is it just for personal purposes, to catch it, study it? And the other question I have is, if you could put those down and do a solo venture out in the forest and get more of an interaction with these the boys of the woods, would you do that as opposed to holding the cameras and the thermals? I mean, what drives you? Is it more the shot of it, or is it the interaction?
Actually, that's a very good question, and I have thought about that. There are several researchers that think that a good thermal image may be enough. I'm not sure that it is. Honestly, I'm hoping, I use this term loosely, I'm hoping that we happen to run across, as Don was talking earlier, a body or something like that. But yes, I would like personally to see one myself. I would love to see one myself. I have not had what I would call a sighting. There's just the typical inconclusive shadows. It's just not enough for me. And to answer your second part of your question, yes, I would love to put the equipment down and go out into the woods. There's people doing that, like I'm trying to think of his name, the fellow who does mountain goat research. I can't think his name. Saved my life. He's friends with
Mike Zinski?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that.
Well,
that might.
I do that personally.
Might be.
You do?
Yeah, I do it. You have to get out at night. Being alone is an advantage because you're solo and you're vulnerable. And if you have a spot where they exist, and they're curious of you, and you've been out there enough, it would happen. But it's got to be frequent, and it can't just be one, random weekend out in the woods. So it's not easy. It even gets intimidating even when you're used to them being around, but it's pretty cool, and that's why I asked.
I must have misunderstood your question. I thought that you were talking about going out and spending, months. You know what I mean?
No.
Just never coming home. And that's what Mianinsky does. I thought that's what you. But no, I do that. Exactly what you're saying. I've got 3 areas in particular in the state of Virginia that I go to, and have been doing that now for probably going on 3 years.
Okay, so you have them coming around you, and
well, I have. See, that's one thing. I'm very skeptical of my own self, or critical. Maybe critical is the word. Yes, I've heard a lot of things that I can't identify, and I grew up hunting. My grandfather taught me to hunt. My father taught me to hunt. I know the sounds of wildlife. I know the sounds of the forest. I know what a fox sounds like. I know what a deer sounds like. But I've heard things that aren't any of those things, and I don't have answers for them. So yeah, I have experienced things like that, but I have not had that sighting that I so desperately want.
Yeah, well, you would, and you will if you just keep going out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping so. But yeah, thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you. If you could just keep me on hold, that way I can keep listening.
I can certainly do that.
Thank you.
All right, that was actually a good thing to talk about. That's
yes.
I'd love to be able to go out like mine. I mean, Malinowski is gone for months at a time. Nobody ever knows if he's alive or not.
Yeah. But you know, that with some of the recent developments, that might be an avenue that needs to be explored more. You know, instead of trying to catch a picture of one of these things, maybe we need to interact with it enough to gain its trust.
Right. That's right. Yeah, it would definitely be nice. Mike, do you have any questions?
I did not see any. Let me just scroll back a bit. I don't see any.
Okay. Just for those who may not be in the chat room and just may be listening live, I'll give out the call-in number if they want to ask Don a question. The call-in number is 347-237-5070. I'll repeat it. It's 347-237-5070. And I will get back to my list of questions for Don. Don, I'm sure that over the past several years that you've been in this research, just about everybody I know has a favorite sighting or encounter report. What is yours?
Ooh, well, that's a good one. It would almost have to be the abduction story of Osterman.
Yep.
Being carried off in a sleeping bag. That's just amazing to me.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't we all want that?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people out there going, no.
That makes you scratch the Wisniewski plan, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's just lucky that when he gave that thing that snuff.
Yeah.
He's lucky to kill him. Let's see. What do you think, Don, in your opinion, what do you think is one of the most important tools in this research?
I think we need to think about some of the information that's coming out about maybe they have a language. If they have a language, you know, they're capable of abstract thought. Maybe we should start working on using our minds to try to find ways to entice them to come in closer, to interact, or maybe leaving gifts, you know, instead of obviously leaving bait like it's a trap or something.
Right. Now, I'm going to take it you're probably referring to some of the recent information that Scott Nelson has brought out on the communication.
Yeah, I was in Oklahoma when he gave his presentation. I was blown away by what he came up with.
Yeah. I think he probably gave the same talk out at the Bigfoot Roundup, which is what I went to out there in Washington, and he has some very interesting information, I do have to say.
Oh, absolutely, very, very interesting stuff.
Exactly, it definitely is. Let me get back to here. Now, a lot of people have different ideas about these creatures and what they may do. Do you think these creatures migrate?
I think they do to some degree, because I noticed that in the dead of winter we get very few reports here. It seems that the real reports seem to really pick up in the spring and the fall when they're moving, and they're more apt to be seen because they're out moving around.
Yeah.
Okay. My personal opinion that they do migrate. I don't think they migrate any great distances.
Right.
But you know, here in the Midwest, 200 miles would make all the difference in the world about how tough your winter was.
Right. Yeah, that the only thing that that really sticks out in my mind is I'm wondering if it's a possibility that one of the reasons they're not seen as much in the wintertime and stuff is just because people really ain't out walking, walking the trails.
And there are places, where they may not migrate because they can't.
Right.
Here you could get into Mark Twain National Forest and go all the way to Louisiana if you wanted to and stay in the woods, but there are a lot of places anymore where you can't do that.
Right. It's expansion of population and clearing, and we've lost
there
a
are
lot.
Places where we have them cut off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they probably typically will use the power line cuts and things like that too in the dead of night, to travel from one area to another. Any questions, Mike, before I go on?
I do not think so. Oh, wait. Just now.
Okay.
Like the bottom line in chat, just as you said that, popped up. We got a question from Oregon Sasquatch. Says, yes, what is his opinion of them being more human than animal?
Ooh, that is a tough one there. I can say that I don't think they're human, but I also don't think they're descended from Gigantopithecus either. My theory is that this is probably a unique species to North America, and it's always been here.
Right. You think you're leaning more towards them being more human than ape, or more ape than human? Like if you had to give it a split.
I really think that they're an ape, or a primate. I don't think they're hominid.
Okay. All right. And right after Oregon Sasquatch, we had a question from Andy Drew, the very next line, and 2 lines down from that, we have another one from Sasquatch. So we got a bunch here. Let's see. We'll take this one. Stop this scroll so it doesn't bounce all the way down on me. Okay. Whoops. I just took it off scroll. Okay. Andy Drew says, a question for Don and Billy. What safety advice would you give researchers when out in the field?
Never go alone. Don't ever go out there by yourself.
I would have to agree.
It's more people in trouble every single year.
Yeah, and I do know, the recent caller had talked about going out, out alone. Obviously I know a lot of people that do that. I have done it before. But I think a lot of us in our careers, and I'm sure Don's going to repeat this because what I'm getting ready to say is one of the same things that I know he's went through in training. You always have a buddy.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that we all learn in our training, in safety training, is that you always use the buddy system. I mean, it's not so much that I think anyone's afraid that a creature's going to attack them. I mean, obviously, in saying that, I don't mean that they will or won't, because we still don't yet know a lot about this thing.
Right.
But the main, at least here in Virginia, the main worry around here is running into somebody out there growing pot in the woods, or someone with a meth lab.
Anymore, they got meth labs that they carry around in a igloo cooler, and they take it out of the trunk of the car and start cooking.
Right.
Now, you can walk. I walked up on a chop shop one time while I was mushroom hunting, and it scared the bejeebers out of me because I was probably 3 miles from the nearest road, and here are all these chopped up cars, and I was by myself that day too.
Right. Yeah, just to go along with that, Don, probably one of the scariest experiences I ever had. It was me and had a couple other researchers with me. We were walking along a river in the Rappahannock in Virginia, and we came up on what looked like somebody camping back in the woods, and the campfire they had didn't look like a normal campfire. I mean, it was almost like a steam, like a really white steam, and a lot of it. So we got to looking with the binoculars, and we realized that it wasn't a simple campfire that they had going on. And as we were looking through the binoculars, the fellow who was looking through the binoculars noticed that we had a rifle scope pointed at us.
Nice.
And he's like, we need to turn around. And that's exactly what we did. We turned around. We had a ravine on our right side of us. We got down in that ravine and walked back out of there. We went to the low ground.
That brings up another good point. You got to be prudent about what you're doing out there.
Yeah.
It's not worth getting hurt over.
No, it's not. It really isn't. I think Mike's going to be busy because I saw so many questions scroll down through there. I couldn't tell you how many just scrolled down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right after, it seemed like Oregon Sasquatch posted his, and then right after Andy, and then now we got a couple more here, about another 3 or 4. Sasfoot asks, why do they seem so curious of people?
I don't know. My theory is that at one point perhaps there was more interaction between them and the Native Americans than what we have now. Maybe it's just because we don't behave like the other animals that they're used to.
Right.
But, it's like, how many times have you heard a report of them coming in closer to an area because there were kids playing or people were laughing or something like that? And if they are curious, maybe that's their weakness. Maybe that's the Achilles heel we're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
Could very well be. We got another question from Oregon Sasquatch. Says, has he ever been out investigating with a Native American?
I have not investigated with a Native American. I have spoken to a couple here in Missouri to see if they had any stories or any tribal lore that along those lines. I haven't ever investigated with anybody.
Okay. We got a question from Bill Green again. He asked,
Bill?
has the guests ever investigated the old Momo sightings?
No, I have not investigated Momo. That's quite a ways away from me. That's a little over 200 miles away. And there are still some reports in that area, but it's really grown up a lot more than it was back then. It's a lot more heavily populated.
Yeah, not so much of a prime habitat anymore, huh?
And if we get a report there tomorrow, I'll be going, but I just don't anticipate that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, to be expected, as man is encroaching ever deeper and deeper into the forest and building new roads and, buildings and kind of taking away the habitat, that's
Sure.
what happens. It gets, not just maybe squatch, but all sorts of animals get pushed from one area to another, by the encroachment. Another question from Oregon Sasquatch. This time it says, what would he do if he was approached by a 12-foot Sasquatch all alone in the dead of night with no help for miles?
I would probably die. I mean, what are you going to do? I wouldn't have been out there by myself, I would hope. I would hope that it was peaceful.
Yeah. You hope
it wasn't, you're in big trouble.
You hope it's just curious and gentle and not aggressive that it's approaching you, right?
I hope it's not looking for supper or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I weigh about 1.5 bucks soaking wet. Not a whole lot I'm going to do with a 12-foot ape.
Yeah. I imagine not. You just hope that you're not too attracted to him either.
Right, absolutely.
Don't want you for his little buddy.
Yeah. All right, we
man.
got another one from Oregon Sasquatch. What is the largest track he ever cast?
I haven't ever casted one myself. I've never found anything that I thought was Bigfoot. I made some impressions of a mountain lion track back before the state of Missouri admitted that we had mountain lions.
Right.
Well, have they at this stage at least admitted that they are there?
They have after the fourth one was killed on the highway. I don't know how many pictures we've had of them. Someone finally came up with the idea that there might be mountain lions here.
Well, at least the state of Missouri, the authorities there, at least they admit it. There's been reports in a lot of other states where they won't admit it, even after there have been several kills in those other states, but they just chalk it up to, was somebody's escaped exotic pet, or, somebody had it and it got too big, so they just let it out and let it free, and, they always have some kind of an explanation, but they don't want to admit it because, let's face it, it's tough economic times, and there's, endangered creatures out there like that. Well, then, might cost them a little bit out of their pocket, set aside some money for them. So,
mess up somebody's budget, isn't it?
Yeah. They don't want to admit that. They didn't plan that in their budget planning for the year, so they want to stay in the black.
Exactly.
They don't want to be in the red.
That's right.
We got another question from the Kingdom Keys. he says, well, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but he says, shine a flashlight in its eyes. They're reported to be light sensitive at night. But he said it in all caps, so I'm assuming he wanted to get that.
Oh, to escape the 12-footer that snuck up on me in the dark. He could have the flashlight, really.
Yeah. I guess he's giving our guest advice if he runs into
Sounds
that.
Sounds like it,
yeah. Blind him and run, right? Yeah.
Blind him and run.
And take off. That's it.
That's it. All right, let me see. I'm going to take this Skype call. I'm hoping it's probably Bruce, but who knows? So be prepared for this, Don. Yep.
Keep your fingers crossed. Hover your finger over that button, Billy. You don't have a good track record with those Skype.
Yeah, exactly. Skype caller, you're on the line.
You don't have to worry about hovering your finger over that button. This is the elusive one, guys. I just got in and I just called to listen to the radio show. How you folks doing?
Doing great.
Doing good.
Good. Hey, good to hear it. Hey, how you doing, Mike?
All right.
Good to hear it, buddy. I just got in and I just thought I'd call in and listen if you guys didn't mind.
All right. That's not a problem at all. You're always welcome to call in and listen in, Abe. So
all right. Thanks, Billy. I appreciate that. If you just want to put me on mute, if I have a question, I'll cue the host key.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, let me go ahead and tell this story because Allison's already in the chat room talking about it, and I already told Mike Killen before we came on the air. It's actually Allison is she's the one that owns the property where we've got some research going on, and I was out there changing the memory card and the battery supply in the trail camera we've got set up. Well, the trail camera, because of the way we've got it positioned, we've got it up in a tree, so you need like a 5-foot ladder to get up there and open the thing up and get everything changed and switched out. So I'm up on the top of this ladder, unfastening the trail camera. And this is the first time it's ever happened to me, so I don't expect anything to happen when I open the trail camera. So I'm clicking this thing open, and I open it up, and I get covered with carpenter ants.
Oh, boy.
They got down in my shirt, and I'm up on this ladder, and they're biting. So I literally decided, since I was kind of losing my balance, and the ladder was starting to twist because I was at the top of it, which, as you know, Don, is a no-no. I just went ahead and jumped off. I jumped off the ladder and landed on the ground. I just immediately ripped my shirt off and was beating these things off of me. I mean, they were biting like crazy. And I finally got them all off of me, but, everybody thought that was funny. So they're all wishing that there was a second trail camera that was shooting a video of that as it occurred.
Yeah, I bet that was no fun at all.
No, it wasn't no fun. I mean, it was kind of funny afterwards, but it wasn't funny at the particular time that it was happening. So, but anyway, all right, Allison, I told him so. She told me if I didn't tell the story, she was going to call in and tell it.
Luckily, you didn't hurt yourself jumping out of the damn tree. That could have been.
No, I could have though, because I have.
Kind of hard to focus on your
surgery.
Landing when you're being eaten alive like that. I can imagine.
Yeah, I know. I had back surgery, and I was worried about it. Believe me, it was in the back of my mind.
I hadn't even thought about that. You did have. It was quite a deal.
But it's okay. I didn't get hurt, so I'm fine.
Luckily, it was only a 5-foot ladder, Billy.
Yeah.
You would have been up about 15 feet. That would have been a whole different story.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I would have had a problem would be if I was jumping down on a hard surface like asphalt or concrete, which I've done in the past and learned that that's a no-no. Since it was grass, it kind of absorbs a little bit better. So.
Yeah. Well, if you do the proper roll when you hit the ground, you kind of have to do that parachute practice roll,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Use your legs to absorb the shock and you spring off.
That's it. All right, Don, we're going to give you just a little bit of break. We're going to do some quick commercials.
Okay.
So if you can you hold on the line?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? All right.
Sure.
So I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get back to you as soon as we get back to from the commercial break. So, folks, just hold tight, and we will be right back after a few messages.
Sasquatch Watch Radio. Stay tuned.
Join us in the enchanting Willamette Valley next year as we kick off the first annual Oregon Sasquatch Symposium in Eugene, Oregon. This event will be held June 19th and 20th, 2010 at Lane Community College in the Forum Hall. Seating is limited and tickets will go on sale November 30th. Speakers such as Autumn Williams, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Cliff Barackman, Tom Powell, Solly Walford, David Rodriguez, Cassie Moscow-String are only the beginning of a fantastic lineup of Sasquatch researchers. The Oregon Sasquatch Symposium was designed to bring Oregon researchers together with Oregon witnesses. In our search to discover and explore the mystery of Sasquatch, we hope to learn something deeper about ourselves. For more information about the OSS and to buy tickets, visit the website at www.oregonsasquatchsymposium.webs.com.
Unity, a Journey of Hope, and Peace of Mind Paranormal Society are teaming up to bring you a fundraising event, Paranormal Unity, to be held November 20th and 21st at the historic haunted Stonehouse Inn, Farmington, Pennsylvania. This two-day event will feature Paranormal State's own psychic medium Chip Coffey, from the TV show Ghost Hunters Kristen Gartland, the godfather of the paranormal John Zaffis, paranormal investigators Chris Dedman, Sandra and Keith Johnson, Cece the Huntress, and members of the Haunted Survivor Tour. Ticket prices include entry to the event, 2 buffet dinners and Saturday brunch, along with a meet and greet of the presenters, plus a special showing of the Booth Brothers Spook, the Ghosts of Waverly Hills. Better hurry, seating is limited and tickets are selling out fast. For a limited time, act now to buy 2 tickets for the low price of just $222. Single ticket prices are $189. Take part in the many raffles for a chance to win a psychic gallery read, a ghost hunt with your favorite paranormal celebrity, and chances at winning a K2 meter and so much more. For event and ticket information, go to ajourneyofhope.org or phone 724-677-4789. All proceeds benefit Unity, a Journey of Hope nonprofit charity that helps grant wishes to adults with life-limiting illnesses. Join us November 20th and 21st at the haunted historic Stonehouse Inn, Farmington, PA for Paranormal Unity, a fundraising event, and help Unity, a Journey of Hope, changing lives one wish at a time.
Paranormal Talk Radio, bi-monthly, Wednesday nights, 8 to 9 p.m. Central. Paranormal Talk Radio divas Melissa Hovey and Monica Rollins, never afraid to tell it like it is. Too hot for prime time. 60 minutes of take no shit, grab you by the balls. Paranormal Talk Radio. 8 to 9 p.m. Central, every other Wednesday night on Blog Talk Radio. Paranormal Talk Radio with an attitude.
We hope you're enjoying the show. If you get a chance, visit the Sasquatch Watch of Virginia website. It can be found at www.sasquatchwatch.net. Sasquatch Watch of Virginia is a Bigfoot and Wildlife Scientific Field Research Association. We conduct field investigations and field research within areas of reported encounters. Our friendly research methods do not strive to harm or kill any wildlife. We seek to be cooperative and not hurtful to any person or groups or to any public or private organizations. Feel free to visit our website. Have you had a sighting of a creature? Then feel free to call our hotline to submit your encounter. Our hotline can be reached at 703-445-4287. And remember, we specialize in sightings here in the state of Virginia. Or you can report your encounter at our website under the tab Report Your Encounter. We will make certain that someone gets in touch with you. And please enjoy your visit to our website. Again, it is www.sasquatchwatch.net. You're listening to Sasquatch Watch Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network. All right, folks, we're back. Has there been any questions there, Mike, while we were away on break?
I have not seen any. Nope. Some comments back and forth there, as usual, in the chat. But you know, quite a few comments here about ants. But
yeah.
Haven't seen any questions. No.
All right, very good. You still with us there, I assume, Don?
I sure am.
All right. Okay, very good. My next question I would have is, you know, there's always a lot of talk about, you know, stick structures and tree formations. Do you put any merit in that? Do you think these creatures do that?
I haven't personally encountered anything like that. I think some of the things I've been shown are very compelling. And I don't want people to jump to conclusions and run out there every time they see a broken tree limb and think that Bigfoot's been here. But
right.
Some of the things that I've seen with the intricate weaving and the twisting of some of these trees, even using them as markers, laying them across the trail that someone just walked down, so when they walk back up, they find these things that, I don't know if they're trying to warn us or communicate with us, but I think it's a compelling field of study.
Yeah, it's a little hard to prove something that, you know, if we don't see them placing it there or arranging it in such a way, it's kind of hard to. You know, one thing I've always noticed is you do find a lot of that stuff in sighting locations, but that still doesn't mean that you know, that these creatures done it. But
a lot of people
they're
don't like to
interesting
hear
nonetheless.
it. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but the simple fact is, if you didn't see the Bigfoot make it, it's not evidence.
Right. That's right.
And if you can't take a picture of the Bigfoot making it, you can't prove you saw it either.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Now, how about have you heard the theories and stuff that people have on infrasound? Do you think these creatures are capable of creating infrasound?
Well, it would make sense if they are in fact a primate. The great apes do have external air sacs. I don't know about the types of effects that people are claiming these things are creating, but I think they would have some. It's at least possible that they would have some capacity for infrasound. Right.
Yeah, I mean, we have typical animals. Obviously, you know, mentioned the great apes and stuff. We have, you know, tigers, lions. We have elephants. All these animals use a form of infrasound. You know,
elephants communicate over great distances that way.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of people don't know, but you know, tigers, lions, prior to you know, capturing prey, a lot of times will use infrasound to stun it's done to prey to give them that few seconds to pounce. So it's interesting information. Looks like we have a caller on the line. Caller from the 508 area code. You're on the air.
Hi, how you doing? This is James Holmberg.
Hey, James.
I commented on your Facebook the other day, realizing you guys didn't. I didn't know if you guys did this kind of a watch radio type of thing. I wanted just to say that I mean, this is kind of, I really don't tell a lot of people this, but down in Florida, I was down in the Sanibel Island area, and I did on the way home. It was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. My girlfriend and I at the time going down the street, and all of a sudden it's middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not like people are playing games out there. There's not a lot of people. We're going down the street and we see, you know, something like this picture over here on the almost exactly the same thing. The Sasquatch watch on Virginia looked just like that. It was the color was dark green. It was it almost looked like it was raggedy though, real raggedy, like beat up. And it was tall. It was like maybe 6'2", 6'3". I really wanted to turn around, and she was scared out of her mind to turn around, which I understand. I mean, I even had a camera with me too, and that's the thing. But I even looked for cars and houses, and there's nothing in this area like for miles. And we go through this toll plaza, and we tell the lady in the toll plaza, and she's like, you know what? You're not the only one. There's been about 4 sightings tonight that said the exact same thing as you guys. And like, I haven't really looked into it at all, but I'm curious if you guys know anything about down that area, anything down there.
Well, we actually have a guy that's a regular listener of the show down in Florida, probably not far from that area. I'm kind of waiting to see if I'm not sure if he's in. Let me see if he's actually in the chat room. He goes by Swamp Rat. Do not see him in the chat tonight, so it must be something wrong here. Either that or he's out in the field. But I mean, if you want to pass along, you know, if you want to just kind of type something up, send it to me, and I'll get it to him and
absolutely. I
have
mean,
him to check into that.
Research on that too, because if more than one person saw it too that night. You know? Yeah,
exactly. That would be something he could easily get information on, to talk to somebody there in the booth and.
Because there's not too many people that work in that booth. I don't think. You know, it's like an $8 toll, and you have to go. It's the only way down to the island. Right. So.
Well, thanks for calling and talking about that.
Hey, no problem, guys. You know, I enjoyed the show.
You might also, I can't think of his last name, Scott. He taught a cryptozoology course online.
Who do you want me to send the email to?
Yeah, just send it to me, and I'll forward it to the right people. Just send it to B. Willard, B as in boy, and then my last name, Willard, at SasquatchWatch.net.
Okay, I'd be happy to.
All right,
guys,
I appreciate
the show. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, you're talking about Scott Marlowe.
Marlowe, that's it, yeah. G-A-N-G. Yeah. Yep. Oh, he does a lot of work down there.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get that info to one of those guys, because I think I've got both of them in my contacts. But yeah, I'm glad he called in. That was very interesting. Any questions, Mikey, before I go on?
I do not see any. Let me go back up here. No, don't see any.
Okay. All right. I will get right back to my line of questioning. Wood knocking. Have you ever experienced wood knocking, Don, out in your adventures, or do you think these things do wood knocking?
I'm hoping that they do, because I'm actually an area that I'm working on with a witness right now. That's one of our plans of attack, is to try some wood knocking and maybe even some call blasting to try to lure something in a little closer to us.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if they don't use that as some form of communication between themselves.
Right. Now, have they ever reported hearing anything like that out there?
They have. They've heard knocks, and they've had something's actually come up and slapped the trailer where the witness's sister lives. They have a pretty significant body of ongoing activity. We just haven't gotten anything definitive out of it yet.
Right. You know, that's always been an ongoing joke for us here on the show is, what does Bigfoot have against trailers?
He always messes with them. He does.
They're always doing something to trailers. What is that?
Well, if you want to talk about what does Bigfoot have against trailers, what does Mother Nature have against trailers? How many times do you hear about tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever wiping out a trailer park? You know?
Yeah, I know.
Always seems to hit some mobile home park and wreak havoc. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, them hurricane strap downs don't seem to do much.
Yeah, that's all that's left of the straps. And that works out.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We kind of touched on this one, so I'm not going to ask that one. This is always a hard question because I can't really. I don't think any of us can really answer this question, but it's just a good kind of thought invoking type thing to talk about. How many do you think there are in North America? If you were to just take a guess.
Well, that is kind of tough. You know, for them to have a breeding population in as many different places as we have ongoing sightings, you know, I would think there would have to be hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, as we all know,
of deer, but
right. You know, and I think people don't quite understand, like, you know, I think it's been, back when Grover Krantz was still with us, you know, I think he had thrown out a number that was like between 2,000 and 3,000.
Yeah.
I don't think people quite realize, you know, because people say if there were that many, then we would be seeing them, you know. But I tell you, I mean, how many people go more than a mile off the side of any road into the woods?
Sure.
I mean, you know.
And everybody's always.
If there's not a trail. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's always
trail
why
back
don't
there,
we find our bodies?
Right.
It's like the doesn't. Why don't we find our bodies? Well, when was the last time you found a dead bobcat?
Right.
No.
That's true. That's very true. You know, how often do we find a bear? I mean, look how big that is.
Absolutely.
You know, bears have to die.
And if these things do have a higher level of intelligence, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they don't leave their dead laying around.
Right.
You know, I don't know to bury them, but they probably have some sort of some ritual of some sort.
Right. Yeah. I think Mike's got more questions in there.
Yeah, we just had two questions back to back posts in the chat. I want to take them now. We have Midnight Walker says, if you're aspiring to the if you didn't see him make it philosophy, how does wood knocking fall within that philosophy, or large trees snapped and twisted?
Okay. That's a good question. The wood knocking, like we're talking about a series of raps, 3, 4, whatever, in a row. You know, that's pretty hard to do without a hand. And it's pretty hard to say that wind did it. I guess you could say woodpeckers, but that's not really the same sound at all. From what I've been told, I haven't experienced it yet myself. And it is a proven means of communication. You know, as for the limb twist and the tree formations, you know, I really can't speak a lot about that. I haven't really seen any of that firsthand to even be able to speak knowledgeably about it. But if they can alter their environment and it's abnormal enough that the wind didn't do it, that at least gives you something to say maybe there's something here.
All right.
And we have a question from Andy Drew next. This is for Don and Billy. He says, both of your opinions. Do you think a creature will be found in the next 25 years?
Oh, that's a good question. I honestly think with everything that we've learned in the last 10 years and some of the developments that we've made, that for the first time I can honestly say I think that this mystery will be solved in my lifetime. So I would say yes.
I agree too. You know, technology is getting better. We're coming up with better tools. We're getting more people in the field.
Yep.
You know, of course the invention of the internet has triggered so much more interest, and now people can communicate at the click of a button as to what's going on, so the news spreads. I think we're a lot closer. So yeah, I would think that definitely within the next 25 years we'll have some type of proof.
Well, that would be nice, right? That'd be
nice.
It
sure would.
If we could be around when it happens.
And to know what we'll all be looking for next, but...
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, even if we find it, there's still going to be a lot to learn. I mean...
Yeah, there's
just
a lot to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, My first question is, how these creatures, remain so elusive all these years. What is it that they do? Their habitat, where do they live? What do they eat? How do they exist? How do they, there's still there'll be tons of things to learn.
Oh, and like the differences, the animals that they see in the Pacific Northwest aren't the same animals that we see in the South or that you see on the East Coast.
Right.
I mean, there may be 4 or 5 species of these things.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we really don't know. Anything else, Mikey?
We got another one from Bill Green, and this, I wouldn't really call it a question. Well, I guess it is, but it doesn't seem necessarily aimed directly at our guest. It's more like, I think he's asking a question in the chat, but he's got it in all caps, so maybe I'll read it, and maybe our guest could comment on it too. Hucklebuck says, how many people on here, and again, that's why I'm thinking he's meaning the chat, but he's got it in caps. How many people on here think that the government knows they exist but is withholding? So I guess you can pose that to our guest as well.
I'm not a big fan of the black helicopter theory. I really think I don't see, the logging industry might have something to gain from hiding it because there's going to be a lot of habitat changes if we prove these things exist. I honestly don't think the U.S. government cares one way or another at this point. And why would they?
Yeah, I think I had recently talked to one of our members is a member of the military, and I was recently kind of discussing that subject with him, and like he said, really the only time the military or any branch of the military has any interest in something like that is if they consider it a threat.
Right.
So if they considered it a threat, then they would likely at least monitor it. Now I don't know. I've heard stories. I've heard stories that the government is monitoring it, but how true are these stories? We just don't know. We really don't. Again, it's just like our evidence. We don't know. A lot of this can be hearsay, so we just don't know.
And it's too easy to get wrapped up in that whole conspiracy theory thing.
Right, and I think probably the main reason, Don, I think, my opinion, is that, it's hard for us to believe that something that we think is so primitive can actually elude us for this long without being discovered.
Right.
Something that we consider maybe less intelligent than us, how it can stay out of sight and we not know anything about it.
Right.
I think so sometimes I think we look for other explanations. And that's just my opinion. I may be way off base there, who knows?
Well, and that's very valid. It's also the same reason why a lot of times I don't think the government is that interested in it, because they don't believe that it's out there to begin with. And if they do, it's just some dumb animal.
Right.
They've got bigger fish to fry than that.
Right. All right, Mike, anything else?
We had the one from Bill Green that I haven't read yet. It's a question to Billy and Mike. What's your honest opinions about the new Pennsylvania possible Sasquatch photo?
I actually looked at that today. In my opinion, again, I'm not a photo expert, but in my opinion, it's I made a comment about this earlier today because I always find it funny that we always take pictures that seem to be distorted. We're in 2009. I think most of our cameras are like over 6 megapixels now, aren't they? I just don't quite understand that. I think my 4 megapixel camera in the fog and in the rain during a storm will take a clearer picture.
Yeah.
But my opinion is it looks like either an old like part of a tree, a stump, or it's possibly even a little bit. One other thing that I've noticed is it could even be a leaf hanging down, an actual leaf hanging down off of one of the limbs that's coming across. It actually, kind of plays tricks on the eyes, kind of like our most recent one down there. Where was that? Kentucky, from the bird feeder, which basically was a raven or a crow flying into the feeder. It kind of distorts the eye. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I actually haven't seen the photo,
Okay.
so I can't really comment on that. But
have you seen it, Don?
I have, and it was the copy I saw was of such poor quality you couldn't really do anything with it to try to bring out any detail.
Yeah, that's the part I don't understand. I just don't get that. If I had a picture, if I saw something and I took a picture of it and it turned out that bad to where, even when I look at it, even though I saw it, and I couldn't make out I don't think I'd release it. I really don't. I swear. I just
you have to draw circles around it.
Yeah.
You have to draw red circles around it for people to see it. It's not going to do us a lot of good.
No, not at all. We got a caller hanging on the line here. Caller from the 651 area code. You're on the air.
Yeah, say, Don, this is a elusive one again. I got a question for you. As far as these creatures migrating and through your research, have you found any type of perhaps maybe migrational pattern, or do you think that they tend to stay within the same home range of hunting area?
Well, I think in my area in southern Missouri, they migrate a little bit. I don't think they go thousands of miles or anything like that. I think they move into a better habitat for winter weather. They're going to get less snow and have more chance to find food. I think they do move, in the dead of winter, we don't get a lot of reports. Of course, a lot of people aren't out either, as pointed out.
Right. And, during the severe weather and the storms and stuff like that, what's your thoughts of them taking shelter during those severe weather happenings? Do you think that they use caves, or that they make some type of a sturdy nest that's weatherproof, or I'm just kind of wondering where you stand on that.
In our area, they would have an abundance of caves and things like that to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Even old abandoned barns somewhere, or an old homestead or something like that. I don't know about them building any kind of a permanent nest, but I guess they could. But I'm sure that they would utilize caves if they could find one big enough that they could get in there.
So would you say that they're kind of opportunistic when it comes to shelters? I mean, they'll use what's pretty much available to them?
I think they're opportunistic in their shelter, and they're opportunistic in what they choose to eat.
Wow.
They're omnivores.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And that might be part of why they've lasted as long as they have.
Mm-hmm.
They're very flexible that way.
Yeah, he's not too picky, huh?
Absolutely.
Now, you've seen that you haven't really came across like a whole lot of tree signs or stick formations. I'd just like to welcome you to check out our site on our MySpace, because I've had a lot of people, different researchers, send in different types of tree formations and stick formations. Mike being one of them, with Nezra, the co-host of Sasquatch Watch Radio here. And I made different photo albums of different tree formations and stuff, and you can find that at www.myspace.com/MNBRT, and just take a look at some of the odd things that you would think it would take thumbs, or you actually wouldn't think that you would know it would take thumbs to make and create. So just go ahead and take a gander at that whenever you get a free chance. And as far as wood knocking goes, just to relate, we did here at the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, we had an experience where we returned we heard 2 wood knocks at what sounded distant, or they were really soft, and we answered back with 2 wood knocks in reply. And what happened next is that we heard bipedal, heavy type of walking noise coming from the woods out towards us on the dirt road.
Huh?
So I just want to say, from our research and from what we found out, that it could be possible. It's not definite yet, but we're still researching as far as wood knocks ourselves up here in Minnesota, that 2 wood knocks could possibly mean come closer or come over here. Now, I just want to encourage you to, if you do hear any type of wood knocking, try to answer back with 2 and see if you start hearing bipedal walking or any type of movement coming closer to you.
I'll give that a try.
Yeah, please do, and be interested in hearing what you find during that. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much all the questions I had for right now. Thank you again, Billy and Mike, for taking my call.
All right, thanks, Abe.
Thanks for calling.
Yep,
all right,
bye-bye.
Abe, thanks.
Before I go to this other caller, Mike, I don't want to hold you up. Did you have any other questions?
We do. There's a couple here. Hucklebuck, I guess he's like a follow-up to the question about the whether the government has knowledge of the creature's existence. That has been debated, and then there's been some comments in chat, and then he's saying, why wouldn't they be interested in it? It could change the course of history.
It would change the course of history to you and me. I don't know that the U.S. government would see it that way. It would change biology. Again, I don't know that they really are thinking about it that way.
We have another question here from Andy Drew. Andy says, have you heard any unusual sounds that made your toes curl?
Actually, I'm in my primary research area now that I'm working on. We're trying to get a better recording of whatever these calls are that he's recording it behind his residence. Or I know it's not a coyote, and I don't know what else it could be in that part of Missouri. Yes, they're very interesting calls. The last set of recordings he had, they actually sounded hard to describe. Whatever it was sounded frantic. It was like seriously wanting something to answer it. And I've been hunting and trapping in the woods of Missouri all my life, and I have no idea what that thing is.
All right.
Okay.
All right. You got it there, Mike?
Yep, that's caught up to date. There you go.
All right. Let me get this caller on the line. If I can get it to work here. Skype caller, you're on the line.
Hi, can I get it?
Yep, you're here. Go ahead. You got a question for the guest? Oh, we lost him. Yep. It went right off the line there, so we lost him. So maybe he'll call back in. Let's see. Oh my gosh! I tell you what, we've only got 7 minutes left. We're really rolling down here.
Yeah.
Let me get into my where'd it go? You've already answered that. What all are you? You're obviously, we know you're a member of the Alliance of Independent Bigfoot Researchers, the AIBR. Are you a member of any other groups?
I'm not a member per se. I'm getting to know the folks with the MABRC very well. I got to know a lot of them down in Oklahoma. Some of the text level groups. We'll probably be submitting an application to the MABRC. I haven't done it yet. I don't know why I haven't gotten that done, but yeah, I'm just anywhere that the folks in Oklahoma really put on a great conference, and I was really impressed with them, and I would love to be able to work with them.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go to that one yet, but one of these days I'll get around to doing it. Just haven't had the chance.
Yeah, it's a fantastic country.
Yeah. What do you think about expeditions? Or in your opinion, are expeditions successful in this, or do you think it's a few too many people when you're out on an expedition?
I think the large groups like that would be more apt to drive everything away from them. than the one or two or three researchers that are going in quiet, zero impact camping and that type of thing.
Right. All right. I think our Skype caller is back. Skype caller, you're on the air.
I'm sorry, it's a elusive one. I was just got another question for Don that I thought of. I was wondering if he thinks that the moon phase and different moon phases has anything to do as far as these creatures making themselves more vulnerable or more active.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The phases of the moon affects the living thing on the planet to some extent. Learning how they affect these animals would be a wonderful research tool.
Yes. If
you could find some way to prove that they're more active during a certain stage of the cycle than any other. Being someone that's been in emergency medicine for as long as I have, you would not believe the things I've seen happen during a full moon. It's really uncanny.
People kind of change during a full moon, don't they?
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah, I mean, that's even true with humans. I mean, if you think about it, police say that they have more activity and more arrest during a full moon as well. So would you think that during a full moon that these creatures would be more active as well?
Well, you could probably say that, without being able to prove, whether or not we're getting more reports during a full moon or not. Mm-hmm. I think so. I would think they would be more restless. They might move around more, make more noise than normal, stand a higher chance of being noticed.
Right. Now, through your research, have you noticed these creatures' activity during different moon phases, or have you really been paying attention to that?
I really haven't had enough reports to make even a feasible study of that.
Right.
Here.
Okay. Fair enough.
Some of the larger groups that get a lot of reports, that would be a wonderful idea to look into.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you once again, gentlemen.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling.
Hey, thank you, Don.
Thanks, Abe.
Take care, Abe.
You too, Mike.
Okay, I've got another Skype caller. Skype caller, you're on the line.
Hey, I saw some pictures of Sasquatch. It's unreleased, but I saw them on meatspin.com.
On where?
I know exactly where that's at, guys, and let me reassure you, you don't want to type in that do not type in that website. So I knew what that call was as soon as I heard him say the words. I know JC thinks that's funny. All right. If y'all want to spend a lot of time cleaning your computer, type it in.
All right, I've had enough of that.
Not a good thing. I just wanted to let you know, Billy, we're down to 1 minute already in the show.
Yep, I see that. So first of all, I want to make a quick mention before we go off live that next Monday night, we're going to have our very own Kingdom Keys, is what he goes by here in the chat. Kingdom Keys, also known as Dave. He's down in Central Virginia. He's been doing some research here for the past 2.5 years, and he's got some things he wants to share with everybody here on the radio show. This will be his first radio appearance. And he will be sharing some audio recordings that he's been collecting over the past 2.5 years. So y'all want to tune in for that next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Don, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
It is really been fun. I've had a blast.
Yeah, been a good time.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully you'll come back one day. We'll probably get you back on the show one of these days if you don't mind.
That'd be great. I had a great time. Anytime.
All right. Thank you so much, and have a good one, Don.
Yeah, and Mike, it was good meeting you.
Yeah, same here, Don, and great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Good night.
Take care.
All right, so to all the callers, I apologize I didn't get to you all. We're out of time. We're down to about 30 seconds, so we don't have time to take the calls and all that. So we appreciate each and every one of our listeners. Appreciate everyone in the chat room, everyone that was listening live. We appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you so much for being on the show. Mike, thank you again, as always, as being a great co-host. And
no problem, Billy. Glad to help out.
And you're definitely a lifesaver.
You got it.
So, anyway, thanks everyone for listening tonight, and tune in, like I say, next week as we'll bring on Dave from Central Virginia with some of the things he's collected over the past 2.5 years. So we will see everyone next Monday night.
All right. Take care, everybody.
A legend silently stalks the forest around the world, leaving giant man-like footprints in its wake. Skeptics scoff, while the true believers search for the answers, and those who have seen it will never forget. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Blog Talk Radio. Billy Willard and the Blog Squatcher present Sasquatch Watch Radio. Your hosts, Billy Willard and Dee Donlin, bring you 60 minutes of the latest news and information, newly discovered evidence, and interviews with those searching for the truth and those who have seen it. Do you believe? Want to know the truth? It's out there waiting. Monday nights, 9 p.m., Blog Talk Radio. Sasquatch Watch Radio. Sit down, hold on tight, get ready, because it is about to go down. blogtalkradio.com/Sasquatch Watch Radio.
For Mervis Diamond Importers, I'm Ronnie Mervis. Nothing will flatter her more than Mervis Diamond ear studs. She'll wear them every day. It's the one essential she'll never take off. Mervis Diamond ear studs are classic. They're the ideal accessory. Our studs are brighter and flash more. That's my guarantee. It's the world-famous Mervis quality which creates that blaze of light. Mervis diamonds are so brilliant, it's rude not to stare. Mervis proudly shows the most diamond ear studs. We offer all sizes and prices. Starting at just $500 for gorgeous half carats, our unrivaled collection includes studs from modest to truly grand. The amazing thing is the Mervis value, which makes our diamond ear studs so affordable. For the rest of time, you can trade up your Mervis diamond ear studs for larger, and we'll apply the full purchase price. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Just bring your studs back whenever you're in the mood and keep moving up. All you pay is the difference. Mervis Diamond Importers. For diamond ear studs she can't live without. Financing is available. For stores, go to mervisdiamond.com. Again, that's mervisdiamond.com or call 1-800-HER-LOVE.
There's more to your story. More pages, new chapters. You can feel it. And now you're ready to grow. Laurel Ridge Community College is ready for you. Your real-world experience gives you an important head start. And with training, degrees, and certificates for the careers that are most in demand, you can do more, earn more, and advance more. Turn the page and start your story. Grow with us at Laurel Ridge. Visit laurelridge.edu/pathways.